What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Lollipops to Die For. I'm your host, Stephanie, and this is my co-host,
Simona.
And today we are doing a video at the Pacific Crest Cemetery where we're going to be talking about the Toolbox Murders. Let's get into this.
So, Lawrence Sigmund Bittaker and Roy Norris, also known as the Toolbox Killers, were two Americans that were eventually serial killers and rapists and committed to kidnapping, raping, torture, and murder of 5 teenage girls in Southern California over a 5-month period in 1979.
So from February to June of 1979, Bittaker and Norris picked up over 20 female hitchhikers. The pair did not assault these girls in any manner. These runs were merely a way for them to develop ruses to lure girls into the van voluntarily and discovering secluded locations.
Well, these two seem to have met each other in jail. So, of course, they had a lot to share in terms of craziness and atrocities. Basically, they had gotten a van, and inside the van, they would torture and rape these girls in manners that were outrageous. Inside the van, the girls would typically be overpowered, bound hand and foot, gagged, and driven to locations deep into the San Gabriel Mountains, where they would be sexually assaulted by both men, then usually killed by strangulation with a wire coat hanger, although 2 of the victims had ice picks driven through their ears and right before they were strangled. So you can imagine the torture these girls endured.
Of course.
Norris admitted to bludgeoning their youngest victim, Lamb, about the head with a sledgehammer as Bittaker strangled her. And of course, she was strangled to death eventually. Again, they had bottles of acid that were found in Bittaker's motel, and Norris stated were intended for use upon the next victim they abducted. And the acts of torture and humiliation they had committed against their victims were for fun. Polaroid pictures were taken and videos during the acts of violence they committed against these poor girls, just so they can record and have an image of their faces in the moment of torture.
So, if you guys want to go online and, sorry, we're stepping on the graves, but there's nothing you can do.
Right.
If you want to go online and you want to look up this case of the Toolbox Murders with Bittaker and Norris, you can find all the details. We're not going to go into it, and I'm definitely not going to go into the background of these 2 pieces of shit.
Yes, we're trying to shed light on the victims, not the actual crazy.
We'll talk about one of the victims, and the rest of it we'll give you the names and you can look up. So the reason that I'm talking about one of the victims, Lucinda Lynn Schaefer, is because her maternal grandparents are buried here, which I'm trying to find.
And also, we found somewhere online where they said allegedly her body might have been dropped around this cemetery. So it's a small little cemetery.
Oh, Lamb's body. So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, oh, watch out! Look at this.
So the first victim
was Lucinda Lynn Schaefer.
Right.
Bittaker and Norris had killed their first victim. She was 16 years old. On June 24th, 1979. Lucinda was kidnapped near the corner of Prospect Avenue and Avenue A. That's very, very close. Now, according to the internet, she was not kidnapped there, but according to the internet, someone else who had actually spoken with this police detective had got this information that this is where she was kidnapped, because one of her high heel shoes was left behind, and this is how they knew something bad had happened to her. At the time, she was living with her maternal grandparents. That's who we're trying to find right now. And I don't have their name, but I did look up online. There is a couple Schaefers. A couple of them are in the mausoleum where we started out. One is buried, but no headstone.
Right.
So she was currently living with her grandparents in a house in the southeast corner of Shady Croft Avenue and Avenue A, 2 blocks from the location where she was abducted. In his written accounts of the events of this day, Bittaker stated he and Norris, which I don't want to fall, Bittaker stated that he and Norris first finished constructing the bed the pair had installed in the rear of the van, beneath which they placed tools, clothes, and cooler filled with beer and soft drinks. At approximately 11 a.m., the pair drove to the beach area, drinking beer, smoking grass, and flirting with the girls. We had no set routine. At approximately 7:46 p.m., Norris spotted Schaefer walking down a side street toward her grandmother's home and remarked to Bittaker, "There's a cute little blonde." After unsuccessfully attempting to entice Schaefer into the van with alternative offers of marijuana and a lift home, Bittaker and Norris drove further ahead and parked alongside a driveway. So they gave her marijuana, and that's why she got into the van.
But Norris and Bittaker took turns into raping her, and the intention was not to kill her. In his written account of the night that followed, Bittaker wrote that Schaefer displayed, keep in mind the victim, get the image in your head, that Schaefer displayed a magnificent state of self-controlled and composed acceptance of the conditions of which she had no control. She shed no tears, offered no resistance, and expressed no great concern of her safety. I guess she knew what was coming, end quote. Norris attempting to manually strangle her. After approximately 45 minutes, he became disturbed of the look in her eyes and ran to the front of the van, vomiting. Even the killers were disturbed by their own shit. Bittaker then manually strangled Schaefer until she collapsed to the ground and became convulsing. He then twisted a wire coat hanger around her neck with vice grip pliers until Schaefer convulsions ceased. Norris, after Bittaker had thrown Schaefer over the canyon in Sunland, they also, him and both of them, kidnapped 4 other girls and viciously murdered them, you know, in the same manner. Very torturing and very crazy.
Okay. Struggling.
Okay, she's struggling.
Okay, so like I said, we're not gonna
go into it.
I'm just gonna list the names of the other girls.
Yes.
That were killed. Andrea Joy Hall, she was 18. She was hitchhiking along PCH, and she was Pacific Coast Highway, for those who do not know.
California.
She was brutally raped and stabbed in the ear and the head with an ice pick and into her brain, stomping on it until the handle broke. Jackie Doris Gillum and Jacqueline Leah Lamb. Now, Lamb was found supposedly 100 yards from this particular cemetery.
Right.
Which is supposedly, other claims say that that was over in the valley, like Sunland, Tahunga,
so
that area. Okay, so Gillum and Lamb. Gillum was 15, Lamb was 13. They were picked up from a bus bench in Hermosa Beach. Ice picks and vice grips were used to torture the 2 girls. After killing Gillum, they threw Lamb out of the van, and Bittaker shouted, "You wanted to stay a virgin, now you can die a virgin," before Norris struck her upon her head with a sledgehammer. Bittaker then strangled Lamb until he believed she died. When Lamb opened her eyes, Norris again bludgeoned her repeatedly as Bittaker strangled her to death. The last one was really horrific, because that one was actually shown.
Yeah, that's the sad part. This one, Shirley Lynette Ledford, she was 16 years old. She was abducted on Halloween outside a gas station, which is pretty crazy. They used hammers, ice picks, sledgehammers, and pliers. Her body was left in a bed of ivy in front of a house in Sunland. The whole point with this particular one is they recorded her while being tortured. And the recording was played at the trial. This is when everybody would get out of the trial and they would vomit because of the horrific sounds they would hear. And that's like, I don't know, like the fact that they would torture them so much with pliers and like pulling their boob, like nipples, and just, you know, using hammers on their bodies. And you know, those poor girls didn't have a very peaceful death, you know, in the end of it all. But that's the whole point of, you know, why we want to shed light on the details of the victims, not of themselves, because they do not necessarily matter.
Right.
The victims matter. They need a voice in all of this. So to sum it all up, the only reason they got caught was because in November 1979, Norris became reacquainted with a friend from jail. His name was Joseph Jackson, he was previously incarcerated with this person in County Men's Colony. And he confided in this guy regarding his and Bittaker's exploits of these girls and how they tortured them and killed them and how much fun they had, I guess. So he confided, and the guy was so horrified, he contacted his lawyer and tried to find a way to do something about it, basically. So upon hearing Norris's confession, Jackson consulted his lawyer, who advised him to inform authorities. The guy agrees, and he basically went and informed the Los Angeles Police Department, whom in turn relayed the two men to the Hermosa Beach Police. So this is very close to us, just FYI. Bittaker was sentenced in the end. Oh, there's a baby. Sorry.
Look at the
We got
sticks.
Sidetracked. Sticks.
Somebody tied up.
Yeah. Oh.
Bamboo sticks.
Sorry, we got sidetracked with a baby grave. So in the end, Bittaker was sentenced to death for 5 murders. Keep in mind, they had stated they kidnapped around 20, so most likely there must be more than 5 deaths. You know, but he got sentenced to death for 5 murders on March 24th, 1981.
There's another baby.
Oh,
there's a picture on the
I
grave.
know. But he died of natural causes while incarcerated on death row at San Quentin State Prison in December 2019. This bastard lived a long life.
Yeah, both of them did.
Bastard.
But Norris ratted the other one out just so he just got
She could get a plea deal. So Norris actually ratted Bittaker, Bittaker out so he can get a plea deal.
Exactly.
And he agreed to testify against him. He was sentenced only to life imprisonment on May 7, 1980, with possibility of parole after serving 30 years. Like he deserved it.
Right.
Eventually, he died of natural causes at the California Medical Facility in February 2020. So basically, that's the reason why we wanted to come here on location and kind of give you an idea of how horrifying sometimes humans are.
Oh, most definitely. And that lamb's body was supposedly dumped 100 yards from this cemetery, and that Lucinda's maternal grandparents are both buried here. Now, like I said, when I looked them up, I found one Catherine Schaefer that was passed away in 63, but no date of birth.
Right.
And whatchamacallit,
I think one was
there was 2 or 3 in the mausoleum, but like I would assume that both of them would be like husband and wife would be buried together. One, ashes were spread. I don't know why. I guess maybe they spread them here at the cemetery.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure.
Mausoleums, maybe.
Maybe they're like these are like open mausoleums. Like you don't have closed ones like a Hollywood Forever.
Right.
But yeah, so this one here, guys, we're coming out.
It hits
trying
close
to
to home
find
because they were
here in Redondo,
Right.
Hermosa,
right.
Manhattan Beach.
So it's
This is
very close.
our neck of the woods.
Yeah. But yeah, we
Two prolific serial killers.
Right. I never even thought that it would be so close.
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised how many people live right next door.
Right.
Yeah. Look at the Christmas
so
trees. I
cute.
fixed the grave. I don't know if you noticed.
Yes, I did.
I was over there fixing the grave
Right.
because the things were all. They used to have a playground here.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Maybe
last
they
time I came
closed
here,
it.
they had some sliding boards and shit. I don't know. Maybe that's when they put the rules up to no one under 15 is allowed unless you're accompanied with a parent. And you can't bring pets here, so I can't bring Phoenix. Well, they really went above and beyond over there.
Right.
Look at that.
I mean, you know, I guess they miss our loved
Wow.
ones and they want to
It's
do
pretty nice.
right.
So this is the first time we did some live on-scene stuff.
But
You know, baseball player,
maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
football.
Poor
Interesting.
guy. Poor guy. Yeah, so but thank you guys for listening to our rant and giving you some
If we get back
creepy-
in the shade, we'll sign off with our faces. But I don't want to get
Yes.
too close to the office here.
right. I think we can sit on this bench for a second and do that. Maybe.
No, maybe.
Yeah, it's shaded enough.
A little bit shade.
I know.
Try to
I
flip the
know.
camera.
Well, thank you guys for listening to us and for being there. And until the next time,
Yes, remember, the truth is always scarier.
bye.